What's up, South Florida? I'm Jim Barry. Welcome once again to Miami Life, the show that takes a deep dive into life here in the 305 and also the 954. Off the top today, angst among the many federal workers in our area. Like many throughout the nation, they are on pins and needles, worried if President Trump's sweeping cuts of federal jobs, carried out with the help of Elon Musk, might knock them out of work. Now, they got a slight reprieve when President Trump reversed course on Musk's latest strategy. The White House told federal agency leaders that their employees can ignore Musk's email from last weekend, asking them to outline their job accomplishments from the week before. Still, uncertainty hangs over the heads of many government workers. Joan Murray profiles one federal worker here who is wondering what might come next.
Everybody in the federal government thinks that they have a target on their back now.
John Hubert is one of 950 TSA workers at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International. He said he was shocked Saturday when he got this email from the Federal Government Office of Personnel Management, OPM, asking to detail 5 things he did last week.
Everyone feels a little bit distracted from this recent attack on us. We think that when we're doing security and protection and protecting the nation's skies, that we need to be void of distractions.
After the email, Elon Musk, who is in charge of government efficiency, tweeted that anyone who did not respond to the email by midnight Monday would be considered gone.
I've never seen an administration basically declare war on the federal workforce. It's a very difficult, dark situation.
Mark Berkowitz is a labor lawyer who has represented union employees.
There are really 2 schools of thought. The first is that Musk has no authority to issue such a proclamation, and it would not be enforceable. The other would be grieve it and then, comply and then grieve it later. That gives you defense against a possible charge of insubordination. He
said federal employees on probation have fewer grounds to fight termination.
You can challenge the termination if it's for political reasons, if it's based on marital status, or if it's based on something that has to do with a pre-employment inquiry.
John Hubert said some TSA workers at FLL who were on probation have already been let go.
We need maximum staff.
Some federal unions have told employees to not reply to the email. Are you going to answer?
Well, me personally, I will answer if the agency gives me directions to, because I do not want to lose my job. I'm a 20-year employee.
All right, we certainly want to take a deep dive into this topic now. Joining us is Jared Crawford. He is a union steward here in South Florida for the American Federation of Government Employees. It has to be a very tense time for everybody right now.
It definitely is, Jim. With the emails that came out this weekend outlining federal employees to talk about the 5 things that we did last week in our job description. We handle a lot of sensitive information, and there was a lot of uncertainty coming into the office on Monday. It was causing chaos. Employees didn't know what they were supposed to put in the email, if they should even answer the email. Talking to management, trying to find out, should we answer what to put in the email? Because
and what did management tell you?
Management they were lost as well. This caught them by surprise. So everyone is trying to figure out what they should do and when they should do it within the time frame that was allowed.
And I guess it wasn't just that you got the email, it's also who it came from.
Correct.
From Elon Musk. You personally got the text?
I did. I went to the office on Monday morning. I opened up my email box and there it was.
And what'd you think?
I was flabbergasted because when I go to work, I know what my job description is. We serve the public. I know who my management is, and that email was not coming from anyone in my chain of command.
What legal steps has the union taken to fight this?
So I do know that there are multiple lawsuits that are being introduced in court to challenge the authenticity of these type of directives because they are not grounded in fact. They're not grounded in law.
What does this do to the morale of the workforce?
To be honest, it is it's bringing down morale. It's very devastating. Employees, like the employees that I represent, they know when they go to work, they wake up in the morning, they're happy to do their job, they love doing their job, they serve the public. A lot of them are they're veterans. A lot of them are parents, they're your neighbors. They go to work and they are happy to assist the public that come in for legit help. And when we are bombarded with constant directives that are coming from someone outside of our chain of command, it's disheartening, because we're trying to figure out what it is that we're supposed to do to assist the public, but at the same time, if we're going to do something, is this going to affect my job?
So, playing devil's advocate with you for a minute,
okay.
There may be some who say, look, he's the president now, he's the boss, he's got the unilateral right to do what he says he was going to do, that he feels that got him elected, and that is shrink the federal workforce. To which you would say?
I would say he may believe that that's a directive that he has, but there are over 800,000 federal employees that AFGE, American Federation for Government Employees, represent. And those are throughout the nation. There is a misnomer that federal employees are only in the Washington, D.C. area. That is wholly untrue. We're in your neighborhoods. We're your neighbors. We're your sons, daughters. You know, we carry out the lifeblood of America. We have people that work in the veteran affairs that assist disabled veterans. We have people that work across the board in Social Security, in TSA, in USCIS.
And is it really up to the president to hire or fire you, or is it Congress?
It is Congress. Congress is the one that created these agencies. They are the ones that fund these agencies. The president is the one in charge of carrying out the mandate that Congress laid before them.
Yeah. It seems as though that the advice that you're getting, it seems like it's all over the place because you're really not sure what to do. What is the union telling its workers right now?
The union is taking things as they come, which can be on a minute-by-minute basis. As far as the email directive, the union basically was telling the employees to follow the mandates of management, but with management in a disarray and not understanding what their authority was, or it's still chaotic.
Explain to the general public who may not understand why this approach could be dangerous.
So again, earlier we mentioned how it's lowering morale amongst federal employees. If right now there's somewhat of a brain drain. You're talking about employees being let go for any number of reasons. You lose institutional knowledge. You lose the people that are gung-ho about trying to assist the public in their everyday lives. The morale is not there. So if you lose that brain drain, it's going to affect it's going to affect disability benefits. It's going to affect the VA or the veteran that needs some type of assistance, or a counselor or something that could be the last person that they talk to. For people that need financial assistance, there's not the manpower there to actually process those applications. So therefore, they might not get their benefits on time. Yeah. And
gotcha. We got about 15 seconds. Has Congress done enough in your view?
No. They have not. They have abdicated their role at this point.
Yeah. Jared, I appreciate you coming in, and I know it's a difficult time for you and your fellow federal employees, and certainly we hope that there's some clarity that comes to the situation, and certainly we hope that for most of you, there's a resolution that can allow you to keep doing what your heart tells you to do, and that is serve the public.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate you. Up next on Miami Life, a local man who feels the need for speed.
Cars have always been a part of me since I was old enough to get a driver's license.
High-powered lawyer by day who loves high-powered cars at night. Still ahead, a look at his exotic side hustle. Ooh, nice wheels there. And texting scams are out of control. We'll share some helpful advice to avoid getting ripped off. Welcome back. Well, scammers are using our smartphones to see if they can fool us into making a not-so-smart decision. Texting scams have become prevalent, and the word has gotten out on the latest one, warning drivers they're going to be fined if they don't pay up on tardy tolls. A woman in Big Coppitt Key fell victim to one texting scam, and it cost her her life savings. She shared her story with CBS News Miami's Joe Gorcho.
So in my panic, I I called the number.
This is the text that frightened a woman from Big Coppic Key. It appeared to be from Apple. She told me she felt she needed to act swiftly to maintain the security of her bank accounts. Sitting in my car, I listened as she described the start of her financial scam nightmare.
He knew my name. I can't remember all of the steps that he's showed me through, that my phone was hacked.
Out of fear, she says she followed the scammer's instructions to withdraw thousands from her life savings into a secure crypto account.
He said, I really don't want you to be talking to anybody.
She says she nervously drove from her bank in Big Coppic Key to a Marathon gas station with a crypto ATM, converting cash into Bitcoin to send to the scammer. From January 14th to the 17th, she repeated this 3 times, staying in constant contact.
He convinced me, so I just believed it. I panicked. I did whatever they told me to do.
When did you realize that you weren't really protecting your money, you were losing your money?
Friday, after all it was done, of course I can't reach him. So at that moment, my heart sank. I cried. I threw my hands in the air. I told my husband. So we walked away and said, even though we may have lost all this money, we still have each other.
She lost $39,000.
They got throw phones, can't be traced, tracked, fake IP addresses. But the reality is these are almost impossible to solve, because most of these scams don't even derive from the U.S. Most of these scams derive out of country.
Monroe County Sheriff Rick Ramsey tells CBS News Miami that his office receives calls daily about residents being scammed. This is why it focuses on public awareness campaigns, both online and in the local paper.
Slow down, take a breath. Act with logic, not emotion. They're trying to prey on your emotion.
While scammers still use the phone, they are increasingly using text or email to gain access to your identity.
That was Joe Gorcho reporting. If you are concerned about a scam, contact local law enforcement right away. Do not respond to a text from an unfamiliar number or click on a link. Well, today on our Miami Life Side Hustles, we profile a guy who does not mind getting his hands dirty. In fact, he really enjoys it. For years, his refuge from legal notoriety has been in the garage under the hood. Some really fancy hoods. Frank Rubino has built a name for himself as one of Miami's top attorneys in high-profile international criminal defense cases, including the infamous early 90s trial of Panamanian military dictator Manuel Noriega.
That was a very complicated case. It took over 1.5 years of preparation, and the trial itself lasted 11.5 months in court every single day. So it was a large part of my life, that case.
Rubino says that case, which made global headlines, put him on the map.
Well, Noriega, I found out later, had sent emissaries up here to the United States and interviewed at least 6 different lawyers, I being one of them. He then had myself and other lawyers each independently flown down to Panama to meet with him, which in fact I did. And then obviously, for reasons I'll never know, he liked me better than the rest and selected me to be his lawyer.
When he's not at his Coral Gables law offices, Rubino is usually back home, indulging his real passion, his classic car collection.
This is a 1950 Aston Martin DB2. This is called a Georges Irat. It's a French sports car. It's a 1932 car, so that would put it about 93 years old.
Rubino has 5 vintage rides in his home garage and a few others on loan to various car shows. No American muscle cars here. He's into European wheels.
I try to collect very rare and unusual cars, cars you've never seen before, cars you'll come up to and say, "What is it? I've never seen one of these."
Like this 1950 Austin Healey Silverstone Roadster. It's a car that may come up short in the comfort department.
You kind of need a big shoehorn and a little Vaseline to slide into them.
But makes up for it in performance.
This is not a car for the faint of heart. This car snarls, spits, fire comes out of it. It's just a pure race car.
Rubino's home garage resembles a 1950s Texaco gas station.
It's got everything from the old gas pump to the Coke machine to the air So the oil reservoir, everything is there just to make it look very authentic, right down to what I like is the black and white checkerboard floor.
And it's not just for show either. Rubino is a true gearhead who loves to tinker with his cars.
Oh, I'll play with the cars at least 2 or 3 times a week. You know, I'll come home from work early and I'll spend the afternoon or the evening in the garage working on one of the cars, either servicing it or fixing something that breaks.
And he likes to see what cars like his 1989 Ferrari Testarossa can do out on the open road.
I've taken it up to 150 on Alligator Alley. Had to do it once just to see it. And it purred, it just ran beautifully. I mean, basically, it's an 80s race car with a license plate on it as far as I'm concerned.
He would know because once upon a time, Rubino was a pro race car driver. He even won the 24 Hours at Daytona race in 1986. His old racing suit still hangs in his garage.
I enjoyed it, I loved it, it was just a wonderful thing. It was like pursuing my dream.
Rubino's racing days are behind him, and he practices law on a part-time basis now. That gives him lots of time to spend with his family and maybe even add a new ride to his collection.
And sometimes I'll see a car that I can't live without. I'll buy it, bring it home, and the next auction I'll push something out and sell it to make room for it.
Is that the arrangement you have with your wife?
Yes.
That car is purring like a kitten. Frank Rubino really looks content around all of his cars. If you know somebody with an interesting side hustle or hobby that we ought to check out, let us know. Maybe they'll be featured in a future episode. Hit us up at cbsmiami@cbs.com and be certain to include side hustles in your email. All right, still to come, it's all about the milkshakes at the U. The man behind a tasty tradition at UM baseball games gets his flowers along with a very special honor. Details when Miami Life returns. Welcome back to Miami Life. In a town that sometimes seems short on tradition, there is one that is still quite tasty at University of Miami baseball games. It's been 40 years of serving up tasty milkshakes at Canes games. Some have clever names like the kitchen sink, but they all are the work of Mitch Friedman. Here's Samantha Rivera.
Ladies and gentlemen, the milkshake man, Mitch Friedman.
If you've come to a Canes baseball game before, chances are you know exactly who this UM legend is. Mitch Friedman throwing out the ceremonial first pitch on Sunday, being honored after 40 seasons of his Mark Light milkshakes.
Everybody says, don't bounce it, so I bounced it. Came up a little short, but that's fine.
With family that drove in for the special occasion, the Canes and his family also announced the Friedman Family Mark Light Shake Baseball Scholarship, honoring the man who's been a staple in the Gables community for decades now.
Well, I was extremely excited and touched by it. And it's not just me, it's the Friedman Family Foundation, so it represents everybody.
We thought it would be a great idea to establish a scholarship so his name lives in perpetuity because he's been bringing his dedication and service for over 40 years now.
Still working to gain funds for it, the scholarship will be part of an endowment for their baseball student athletes.
It's a beautiful cause indeed. I mean, it's one of the best ways to help our children, the future of baseball.
Whether you're enjoying one of Mitch's milkshakes for the first time or just continuing to appreciate the iconic sweet treat at Mark Light Field, Mitch's impact on the community makes the scholarship a no-brainer.
If you are a fan of Mitch Friedman and his milkshakes and you want to help donate to his scholarship, and this guy right here is probably going to help out too, you can head over to cbsmiami.com. In the meantime, I can't enjoy the milkshakes just yet because I heard Mitch is working on a vegan flavor for me. Hint, hint, Mitch. But his grandson Hunter is going to help us out here. In the Gables, Samantha Rivera, CBS News, Miami. Oh, yeah.
Never been disappointed by those shakes. We'll be right back after this. Well, we love getting feedback from the Miami Life audience. After watching our story on Governor Ron DeSantis showing support for cutting property taxes, many of you chimed in. Several viewers would love to see property taxes cut or eliminated altogether. Homeowners cannot be the only source of taxes for city or towns, one writes. Everybody should be paying their share. Another viewer said, yes, please, taxes are too high. But somebody else pointed out that property taxes serve a purpose. No taxes, no money coming into the state. My favorite comment of the week was related to our story on the rehearsal process for cruise ship entertainers. And the person said, Jim, you're good at hand clapping. Of course I am. Glad you noticed my hard work. But is that all you got out of that story? Come on. Keep sending us your comments and feedback to cbsmiami@cbs.com. That does it for this week's Miami Life. Don't forget, we'll see you every Thursday for Miami Life at 6:30 on the stream. You can also watch all of our Miami Life episodes on demand on our YouTube channel. I'm Jim Barry. See you next time.